Hello, my name is Peter Harmon, and I have a family hazelnut farm on the eastern end of Long Island in Aquabog, New York. What I want to do today is describe to you and demonstrate to you what's called stooling. Behind me, this large, overgrown hazelnut tree is a chance tree. Many years ago, 17 years ago, I planted hundreds of wild hazelnuts from a nursery for the purposes of growing a windbreak. Of those hundreds of hazelnut trees, only about a half dozen survived. All the others succumbed to eastern filbert blight. This tree here that I'm pointing to is a survivor through natural selection. It has not demonstrated any evidence of an eastern filbert nut blight. It was not bred, it's a natural chance tree. I had an expert from Rutgers University actually examine the nuts on this tree last fall, which was 2023, and he was approved of the quality of the nut. It is round, about the size, 5/8 of an inch in diameter. The kernel fills the shell, and it's a thin shell, okay? And it was tasty. So what I want to do now is I want to propagate more trees, okay? I will not do that by cuttings. I would like to show you, let's walk close to the base of this tree. Keep it running, please. What I did was I came here in early February and I removed as many branches as you see here. This was a multi-stem tree, as it still is. And as a result of cutting it back, what happened this spring is all these small shoots or suckers came up from the roots. It's these suckers that I want to root. And what I've done is here, using a polyethylene 55-gallon drum, I've cut the drum up into panels and then screwed them together to create this collar around the base of the tree. What I intend on doing here today is I will structurally put stakes around this collar so it doesn't want to change its position. And then what I'm going to do is, in all of these sandbags, is a topsoil rich with composted manure, and it's not heavy, okay? It has a lot of organic matter in it which holds moisture. I also will add in this mixing trough, this is a masonry mixing trough as if you were making cement, I will add this perlite, which is originally a form of volcanic stone, okay? This will help prevent the soil from compacting, and it will make for easy root penetration when the suckers start to root. In order to encourage this rooting process, what I will do is I will take the razor blade here that's mounted in this scraper, which is normally used for, scraping the inspection sticker off your windshield. This is easier to work with. And I will abrade the surface of the suckers, not cut deep into it, just take off the outside skin, and then I will apply this, which is a rooting gel. And you can see here what the composition of it is. This will help encourage rooting from the stem. All right. In continuation of what the first part of this video was about for stooling, I have now removed the collar which you saw around the tree. I've measured off the length of this ribbon, and it's actually 10.5 feet, which produces about a 40-inch diameter circle. Now, I want you to see how I'm putting this collar together with these hex drive self-tapping sheet metal screws. okay? Because then nothing needs to be pre-drilled. And I have this socket tip on which it allows for easy, with a magnetic holder, to hold it in position so you don't end up harpooning yourself when you're trying to do it, like if you had a Phillips drive. What I'm going to do now is bring to your attention the mixing trough, and I'm going to put the perlite in it. Now, perlite is a silica-based material, and you can get lung disease or cancer like mesothelioma, all right, for like asbestos does, because the silicon is like glass harpoons that once they get into your lungs, they stick, and the cilia in your lungs can't remove it. So I want to do this gently, so not to create big, huge puffs of white smoke, dust, and as you might see, the wind is blowing it in that direction, away from me. That's what I want. I don't want to have to breathe this. Just wait for it to clear. Now I'll mix this. And what I do is, I take the soil from below and put it on top of it. I don't use a mixing hoe because a mixing hoe works well when you have wetted material. This is dry material, and I want to be able to scoop the soil from below and rotate the mixture. That's my own personal preference about mixing this. Now, how much do you mix? Well, every time you've gone to a nursery, you've probably found the potting soil for your tomato plants in something similar to this, with all these little beads in here. Now, this is natural. This is not, it's not a foam bead like styrofoam. That's another amenity that can be bought at a nursery stock place for making a soil. I am a person that looks to seek to be as natural as possible, so I don't wish to use something like polystyrene beads that will never decompose outside of the ultraviolet light. So that's why, another reason why I'm using the perlite. Okay, this is actually a mineral-based material. Okay, now I want to show you the suckers in close-up, what's going on here. You can see down here how all of this, let me pull some leaves out of the way, has come up from the cutoff, stems cutoffs, just at the ground level. I could turn each one of these suckers, hopefully, into a cloned tree from this mother plant. And that's what I'm seeking to accomplish here today. Now, I am just trying to reveal to you what's going on down here right now. I haven't applied anything. I'm just picking off some of the leaves. And if any of you home gardeners know that when you plant a tomato plant, you pick off some of the lower leaves and you can plant the tomato root system down even deeper, because what ends up happening is that root stem will also, without even a hormone, a rooting hormone, will ultimately bear roots. And so that's why I'm pulling off these leaves. This will also give me access to abrading the stem surface, okay, and then apply the rooting hormone, all right? So that's what we're looking to do. Okay, I'm going to show you now. What I've done is I've snapped off the leaves of most of these suckers because I want to expose the stems, which I'm going to apply the rooting hormone on. So I've prepped it, as you can see. Now you have to handle these stems with some care, sort of like an asparagus. You know, you take an asparagus and you put some pressure on it and you snap it, and then you take only portion of the asparagus that you cook. These are fragile. We don't want to bend them violently one way or the other. We'll actually break these things off. So we have to be cautious in how we handle these things. So what I'm going to do now is I want to show you some of the precautionary statements about this rooting hormone. Let me get a close-up view of the statements here on this side where my thumb is of the handling of this material. You don't want to be dipping your finger into this stuff. It's absorbed by your skin, and even the container should be disposed of, and you shouldn't be eating food or drinking anything when you're handling this. Okay, it's a safety hazard to you. All right. Okay, it even gives you first aid details on what to do in the event you get it on your clothing, on your eyes, or if it's swallowed, blah, blah, blah. All right, that's enough of that. Now what I want to do is I want to show you, this is a marking stick that you normally put in with a plant that maybe you planted from seeds. I'm going to use this as an applicator. This is a gel, which means that it's going to hopefully stay where you want to put it, at least for some time. It's not a liquid. If you were taking something like cuttings that can be rooted just from cuttings, you could dip them in here. But we're not doing it that way. We're doing it a very different way because this is a woody plant, and we need the mother tree to continue to nurture these suckers because they can't really survive on their own. This is you know, I went out to California to the Sequoia National Park, and there's these giant trees that are almost 2,000 years old. And there's also, because of fire burns, you'll see trees alongside that all grew from the roots after the burn. And those trees are maybe only 500 years old, but they're suckers, those trees. They grew from the mother tree. Now, here we go. Now, what's nice about this is, you see, it's got good body and it's purple, so you can see where you're applying this. Now, I'm going to set this down here. Hopefully I don't knock it over. But what I want to show you is some other concerns. I have a piece of paper towel here, and I have some isopropyl alcohol. The razor blade has been used for all kinds of things. I'm going to saturate this because I want to make sure that I'm not going to be inoculating my plants with some other fungus or whatever. So I'm cleaning this blade off a bit. And the alcohol, better than water, because the alcohol is a disinfectant and it evaporates rapidly, whereas if I did something with water, it would not evaporate quickly. Okay. Now I see some crud in there, but I'm not worried about the crud because I'm working with the tip of the blade. And what I'm going to do here is let's work towards the inside and then work out first. So I'm going to scrape this. Let me get a close-up of this piece right here where I have my fingers on. You see what I'm doing? You see the little curls? That's what I'm exposing. I'm not severing it. You still maintain the xylem and the phloem. This is just the immature bark that I'm just exposed. Now I can take this rooting compound, hormone, and apply this gel to the surface. Okay, let me get a little more here. Okay, and then we'll just proceed. We'll go down the line like this. Now, it's not necessary that I get all the way around the sucker stem completely. That's as long as I get some roots. Now, how long are we going to wait? We're going to wait. Today's the 3rd of June, I believe. or 2nd of June. I'm hoping that by sometime in August, I'll be able to remove the collar and expose all these suckers, and hopefully there should be roots that have taken place. Then I'll come along with a pair of clippers and I'll clip each one of these off, and I'll have a tree, a clone of the mother tree. This is the routine here. I'll just keep scraping this. I'm doing this very gingerly. I'm not pushing hard. This is an immature bark right here. So get some more. Okay. That's going to be the procedure. And then what we'll do is we'll put the collar back around the tree, and then we'll put an infill of the mixture of perlite and topsoil. And I'll actually not going to dump it in with a shovel. I'm going to like crumble it in so it falls down between all of these plants. All right? Okay, that's it. That what I've done now is I've completed the task of abrading the surface of each sucker, and I've applied the purple rooting hormone to each stem. Okay, what I'm going to do now is this plastic sheet was a work surface on which for me to not get a bad case of poison ivy, because that's what was growing under this tree. What I'm going to do now is I have here this 3/4 inch diameter stake. These are commonly used in construction, particularly in masonry work. They even have a pointed end. I'm going to plant a few of these around here so when I put the collar together around the tree, it's not pushing on the suckers, but in actuality I'll have soil to the surface that's been applied the rooting hormone. So that's what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set some stakes. Now, doing that, I have here a 16-pound sledgehammer. Because the collar is going to be wrapped around, and I don't need it pinching on these tender little plants. So I'll put one over here to protect it. Okay, and then we'll get the collar and we'll put the collar around. All right, here we are. I've put the collar in place. And as you can see from left, going around the perimeter of the collar, you see in this shot 4 metal stakes. The purpose of the metal stakes is to prevent the plastic collar from encroaching on the suckers. It's holding a space between the newly formed wall, which will get filled with soil, and the suckers. Otherwise, if I just put the collar around, it would be pushing on the suckers, and we need soil around the suckers. Now, and you can see down to the bottom that space that I wanted to maintain, and I'm gently letting this soil mixture flow freely around the suckers. I don't want to, pack this in here. I want it to go everywhere evenly. Some more. Hold it. Okay. good so far. All right, you can hold them and stand them up. There you go. That's enough of them. The process is we're going to moisten or wet the soil. I'm not going to pour directly from the jerry can because I want to equally distribute the water as slowly and see how much it may cause the soil level to lower. If it lowers too much, I have to add more soil. But right at this point now, I have 8 to 10 inches of soil in the ring. And the ring is approximately 20 inches tall or 18 inches tall. So I'm just about halfway. The amount of soil that took was 10 sandbags full. Now, a sandbag, I can't tell you what the cubic volume is of a sandbag, but it is easily here about 60, 70 pounds of earth. This soil was not completely dry. It was moist, but it fell apart. Now I want to wet it. So I'm going to take this tray and water from the tray, because you see how when it comes out of the jerry can, it gulps, and I don't want to create a heavy flow as I pour. I can maneuver this about here and place the water where I want it. There's a jerry can, I can't really get in there and see where I'm going with this. Okay. All right, this completes the procedure now. I've wetted the soil, and I'm not looking to saturate it, but I know it's wet. This has to be kept moist. I'll come out of here into the field period. This happens to be a shaded area to begin with, because I have a Leland cypress windbreak just to the north side of this tree, about 20 feet away, which just keeps it shaded. And it's not in the wind, so I think it will stay moist on its own for quite some time. But I have to check on it because I don't want this soil to dry out. Now, we'll give this approximately 3 months, June, July, and August. And then here where I live in zone 7, we have a continued growing season until October 15th. So if I'm able to cut these rooted suckers out in the end of August, which is normally harvest time for hazelnuts, I conceivably could get another possibly 8 to 10 weeks of growth from these rooted suckers. And then I'll pot them up in a 16-inch tall tree pot, and that's where they'll spend the winter. These will not go into the field until next summer, maybe next fall. In other words, I have to have a good root system on these plants before I can put them in the field.